You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cricket Podcast, where we are giving you our belated Ashes preview. Max and I were sitting here and chatting about the Ashes 15 hours before the series kicks off.
It's called topical content, Jack.
Yeah, so you'll either be listening today and getting our view ahead of time, or some other time looking back on this and hearing where we went wrong. Then, after half an hour of talking about squads and stuff, we will cover the actual big news in cricket. Ajaz Patel picking up a 10 for the third man in the history of the sport, Max, to pick up 10. I'm Jack. That is Max over there. Max, what's the most number of wickets you've ever seen someone take in a game?
Unfortunately, I wasn't watching Ajaz Patel because, as I think you mentioned on Twitter, it was on at silly o'clock in the morning. But I've seen, I think I've seen 8 on one of those, county days where it's a bit pointless and the pitch is a disgrace on the 4th or 5th day. But 10 is, it's been as yet out of my reach.
I think I've seen a club 8, but I've not seen more. I've taken 6. I'm 60% as good.
One of my teammates took 8 in a game once, and we lost. That's like 8 for 20, and we lost.
So did Ajaz Patel. Right, we're going to get into the Ashes, but before we do, Max, what are the messages?
Please do on YouTube like and subscribe to this video, and subscribe to keep up to date with all the content that we churn out on our channel as we head into the Ashes and start off our I think we're planning some daily review shows again. So subscribe to keep in touch with those. Follow us at the Cricket Pod on Twitter and Instagram, and we are sponsored by Woodstock Cricket. And if you want to support us, then it's patreon.com/the Cricket Pod.
All of those things are correct. And we are doing daily shows. Every morning, we're going to be up recapping what happened overnight.
Let's not promise every morning. Most mornings.
I think we've got every morning. I don't think there's any crunch points yet. Boxing Day might be a bit tricky. But I think so. Boxing Day might be late, in other words. I think we'll be able to do it, but it might not be 8 in the morning.
Hot off the press.
Yeah. That's the plan is get it done by 9 o'clock, go to work. Be very tired, but we will see. Some of them might be later just because of scheduling, but there'll be lots of cricket podcast action along the way. Max, for this preview, we're going to do our typical thing when we make predictions. We say who's going to score the most runs, etc., etc. But we thought we jazz things up a little bit with the 2 squads, didn't we? We know the Australian 11. Pat Cummins announced that at our press conference. That was very nice of him. Just after Langer had said we're not going to release the squad. So, absolutely, the synergy there, the leadership, it's already meshed together. The 2 guys at the top of the Aussie team. So we've known that one for a couple of days. England released their 12-man squad today, so we'll go through that, say who we think will be dropped out. The way we're going to do this, Max, we're going to do, what do we call it? The confidence o-meter for England players. How confident are we in them out of 5, say?
Yeah.
And then the fear-o-meter or the scare-o-meter from the Australian perspective. How scared are we of each Australian? Have you got a coin? Do we need to do a coin toss to decide who goes first here?
Do I have a coin? I do not have a coin to hand, Jack. So let's play a little game. We'll be used to people on the audio. Right. We'll do it on the video. Right.
So if we do, Rob, I will go with your right hand.
Right. That is Australia because it's a pile of rubbish.
Cool. Right. Let's go Australia first then. And so out of 5, Max, they're going to be opening up with David Warner. How scared of David Warner are you out of 5, and what's your justification for this?
Oh, out of 5, okay. Out of 5,
how many do you want it to be?
I just thought we'd go for the standard 10. A little bit more,
we'll do 10.
A bit more nuance. Yeah,
we'll
it doesn't really matter because I was going to go for 6 or 3. So for me, David Warner, he could fluctuate. It depends, doesn't it? Like in England in the Ashes, he was like the fear factor was like a 1 out of 10 because Stuart Broad was there, and Stuart Broad was fear factor 23 for for David Warner. But if we get David Warner from the T20 World Cup, then we're in some trouble. So, it's kind of a hedging of bets between like a 3 out of 10 and a 9 out of 10. It could go either way, but just not quite sure yet, especially with Australia not having played much Test cricket recently.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a 4. I'm
Right.
scared of David Warner. Yeah, I think he's back. Ball's back, baby. He
So
looked
4
pretty
is
good.
more scared.
Oh, sorry. No, I was doing on the out of 5 system.
Oh, right. Okay.
Sorry, 8.
4/8.
4/8. Let's just stick with the 10s. 8 out of 10 for Dave Warner. I think at home, he's just a colossus, isn't he? I know. I mean, the reason it isn't a 5 is because he hasn't played enough Test match cricket recently to know whether maybe he's bad now. You don't know this. Like maybe he's just got old. Didn't look that old at the World Cup.
No,
but yeah. So David Warner registers a 3.5 on the scare factor. Marcus Harris in at 2 for the Aussies. I'll go first this one. I am not scared at all of Marcus Harris. 2 out of 10.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one, isn't it? Because Australia, obviously, they would like to be playing Will Pucovski here. I think, and if it was Will Pucovski, I'd probably up the scare factor 5, 6. Potential generational talent for the Australians opening the batting. That would be scary. Marcus Harris, not a generational talent. You've heard it here first. I think he's basically holding a place.
Yeah, he's the man who keeps coming back when they can't get the man they want to play. In the team.
Yeah, exactly. He's a bit like the Australian Keaton Jennings or something like that. No one's really sure why he's there. But then you look around and you're like, oh, that's why. There is nobody else. There was some talk, Max, that Usman Khawaja might come in and open the batting. Would you be more scared of him?
No, probably not. Not if he's opening. Maybe, I think I'd probably be more scared of him to come in in the middle order because he's been there and he has put innings together before. He's got the experience, but not necessarily opening the batting in the Test match arena. So I think probably either or. I would at least be happy that we could get one early wicket.
Great. So what do you say for Marcus Harris? Your score?
I was going 3 out of 10 for Marcus Harris. So yeah, we're both pretty miserable on him.
Very unscary man. Marnus Labuschagne. Scary name. It's a scary looking face. 10.
It's 10.
You're going the Big 10.
Big 10. We got 2 Big 10s coming up at this point, I think.
Yeah.
For Australia. We can't get him out in England. How are we going to get him out in Australia?
So here's my thinking here. I'm going to go with a 7.
Oh.
I don't really know why, but I've just got a feeling. Like in the summer when I was like, KL Rahul's rubbish and he's not going to get any more 50s.
The Ashes fever is taking over you, Jack. I didn't think you'd be one to fall for it, but
I'm giving Dave Warner an 8. I am less scared of Marnus Labuschagne than David Warner.
Right.
I think. I don't know. I think Marnus Labuschagne maybe had a purple patch on his way into Test cricket. Yeah. People sometimes average 60 for a couple of years. I don't see him doing. I don't think he's Steve Smith. Steve Smith now, that's a genuine 10.
Yeah.
He's gone around the world, scored hundreds in Pune and Headingley, and maybe not Headingley. Might miss that one, but certainly all over England.
Yeah.
He's a run machine. Marnus Labuschagne, he had a decent Ashes in 2019. I think people remember it as better than it was. He got 3 50s. Pretty good against India. And then didn't he thump Pakistan in 2020? Good player, but 7.
Maybe I'm believing the hype then.
After the first test, I might revise that.
Yeah. I'm fully expecting Australia to be like 270 for 2.
The other problem with Marnus Labuschagne, from my point of view, Max, is that he's quite a forgettable player. Now that sounds mean, but in the same way as Jacques Kallis was a bit of a forgettable player, finished with a higher Test career average than Tendulkar. But if you were going to pay 50 quid to go and watch one of them bat for a day, who are you going to pay to go and watch? You're going to watch Tendulkar?
I don't know. I'd probably go and see Kallis because it'd be a bit quieter, wouldn't it? The staging
might be a bit
more
quieter,
relaxing.
Yeah, that's true. Or Brian Lara v Tendulkar.
Yeah.
Or Brian Lara v Kallis even. Yeah, Brian Lara substantially lower average, but you want to go and watch Brian.
Yeah, he scored 400 though, didn't he?
Yeah. So that's my thinking there. Steve Smith, that's 10.
Yeah, that's 10. Like, there's no.
You want to say anything else about him? Should he be captain?
No, he will be. He's vice captain. It will happen. It's inevitable. They've started the trend. They've started the train now for Smith back to captain. But I think, and to be honest, like I don't mind him being captain again in maybe like another couple of years. But I think doing it now would be it would seem a little bit questionable just to throw him straight back in. You need like one more person that you can kind of forget about in the interim before you sort of a bit more time elapses before you're like, oh yeah, Steve Smith. Oh well,
I don't think he'll ever get it. I think
you don't.
It's going to become dog for 4 or 5 years. He'll do a whole Ashes cycle.
Yeah,
Cummins. So that will take us through to what 2025. At which point Cummins will be 32. Probably still be in the team, but might want to like decrease his workload. I think he'll step back from the captaincy. I think Steve Smith will be 35 at that point in time. That's a bit old for a captain.
Swan song.
Yeah,
not if he's still churning out the runs.
Yeah,
not at all.
Labuschagne, they'll probably go with Labuschagne, won't they?
Mm. I think on Steve Smith might also be one of the reasons Labuschagne seems a bit more forgettable, because Labuschagne is also like really eccentric and does those bizarre sort of leaves where he like does the bat over the shoulder and does those like weird helicopter things. But it just seems dumb because Steve Smith already does it.
Yeah.
If he'd come first, if he'd come first, you'd be like, this guy's weird.
Yeah. But would he be doing that if he came first?
Oh, there we go. No. Chicken and egg. Here we go.
Yeah.
Philosophy has entered into the cricket podcast.
Right. Travis Head. You did say 10 for Smith, didn't you?
Smudger.
Yeah. Piggy Smith. Travis Head. Scaredometer.
I like 5, 4.
Yeah.
It just seems a bit.
I'd agree 4. So there's the thing with Head that they say, is that he can't play bowling from around the wicket.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he came. I think he came into Test match cricket to score some runs first up, and then people started bowling around the wicket to him, and he didn't score any more runs. Now he's been out of the team for a little while. He hasn't, like most of the Australians, hasn't really played a lot of Test cricket in the last year. So if I were him, I'd have worked on that weakness. So we will see. If he isn't better though, I can't. I did have the numbers down for this. I think his average is like 15 or something to bowlers who bowl round the wicket, which isn't very good.
No, it's not great.
If you can get that average up to like 30, then he'll probably be okay. If he's just twice as good at the thing he's bad at, then
I'd take that.
It'll be all good.
I'd be a good player.
He looks pretty good at most other things, but yeah, that's the Travis Head situation. I'd probably say 4. He's not done anything particularly scary in the past.
No, he's just
they do like him, Australia.
Forgettable, isn't he? Yeah,
they are obviously Cricket Australia think he's a potential or a long-term number 5 for Australia because they keep giving him a go after he blows it.
Well, he averages 40. It's not like a total disaster.
No, it isn't. Yeah, but I think it's like a Gary Balance 40. Do you know what I mean? It's 40, but everyone knows there's something wrong.
Yeah.
So 4's there. Cam Green.
Just to say, like a Gary Balance 40, everyone knows there's something wrong. We're not saying that's anything to do with being racist. That's just
that is wrong as well.
That's technical flaw. I'm not.
That is wrong too.
That is wrong. But I don't know if Travis Head is racist. He's probably on the evidence I've got, he's not. So just.
Okay. Well, thank you for the clarity.
Yeah. I think
Cameron Green, he's tall.
Extra clear. He is
the
tall.
evidence that we've got, he is tall.
Yes, that is correct. Cameron Green, I think the unknown factor from England's point of view puts him up to like a 7. He's like next big thing, and they want him to be like the next like Australia's Botham.
Yeah, so here's the thing with Cameron Green. I think he'll scare England because he's so tall.
Yeah.
You know how like the Marsh brothers were rubbish, let's be honest, rubbish as anyone else in Test cricket. England, they saw the name Marsh and they saw that they were like big, broad, bulky men. And England's little men cowered in fear and lost. Okay, blew it. So yeah, I'm very much of the mindset that just Cameron Green's physical stats will be enough to carry him to runs.
Is he a scary tall man though? Because you think about the Marshes, they're tall, but also they're quite imposing figures. Like especially when you stick the mullet on Mitch, and you're like, he looks proper sort of redneck yokel, might shoot you with a shotgun if you walk past his house kind of guy. Cameron Green's very much more looks like a kind of Stuart Broad tall guy. Like
So you
nice,
think-
nice smile, wispy blonde hair, sort of, pleasant, maybe a bit, yappy in your ear, but not the kind who you are instantly scared of.
Point. I hadn't really thought about that, but now I've just got to picture him up, and he is quite. Well, in the mid 2000s, we'd have called it metrosexual looking. Do you know
Yes,
what I
we
mean?
would. We would.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would have
Yeah.
done that. Yeah.
So maybe he won't be scary.
That word
Go with
disappeared very
5.
quickly, didn't it?
Gotta go with a
I haven't heard
5.
that word in years. No, he looks a bit like my old housemate actually, and he was a lovely guy. So based on that, yeah. But I'm still
5.
going 7 because I think I think we'll be not intimidated by his height, but intimidated by what Australia want him to be, and we'll be like, oh, he must be really good, and yeah,
we'll buy into
believe
the propaganda.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's very good. Alex Carey, 3. I think they might actually have picked someone worse than Tim Payne here. Not scared of him at all.
No, I mean, I like him as as a cricketer in one days. I think that he's shown like he's got some nice strokes. In terms of like making his debut in an Ashes series, after coming in for the captain, who's had a bit of a
if he scores runs against England, England have fucked up.
Oh yeah,
it's as simple as that. 3. Pat Cummins, he's a 10.
Yeah.
I'm
going to say
Very
9.
scary.
I'm going to say 9
Why?
because I think the captaincy might make him a little bit less good at bowling.
Down.
Yeah,
Weigh him down.
Be interested to see how he gets on with that though. See if he can dispel the moniker of fast bowlers not being able to do captaincy.
Well, I'm sure it'll be fine. I listened to or read an interview with him where he was talking about what he'd actually have to do, and he's like, in reality, the bowlers themselves are setting the fields. Like he doesn't have to, he just has to have oversight, managed by exception.
It's easy. It's easy to do that if the game's going well, right? If things are going as planned, that's one thing. If suddenly England, are looking really strong and you need to find a wicket from somewhere, that's when the captaincy becomes actually something you need to think about. So, you're probably right. It will probably be fine because I can't imagine there'll be too many situations where he has to use his thinker. But we'll see. It is possible.
Nathan Lyon?
I don't know. I'd say normally I'd be like 9 because Nathan Lyon and England go together like fire and gunpowder. But again, it's one of those where I'm not sure what stage he's at the moment in terms of how much cricket they played recently. He wasn't that great against India, but I'm going to go 8.
Yeah, I'm going to knock it down 1 notch. I think 7. I think he's probably the best spin bowler out of both squads. I think he's a bit better than Leach.
Yeah.
I don't think if he's the problem, if he takes 30 wickets, again, it's a problem. England have done something bad.
Yeah.
If they've managed to keep Cummins, Hazelwood, and Stark out of the game and have collapsed to Nathan Lyon, it's a problem. But good. I mean, for Nathan Lyon, there are some reasons that he might be particularly scary for England. Rory Burns, left-handed, not necessarily amazing against spin. Ben Stokes, I think, has historically not always got on with Lyon. Sometimes, one very notable occasion, he punished him badly. But I think Lyon's had his number on other occasions. Ollie Pope isn't a very good player of spin at the international level. And David Milan is another left-hander thrown into the mix, and there are question marks around his ability to play spin. So I think Nathan Lyon will be in the game.
Yeah.
But also, I quite fancy Joe Root against Nathan Lyon. I do think that matches up quite nicely for England, and possibly even Hasib Hamid if he isn't out. But we'll talk about that in a second. Hazelwood, that's a 9.
Yeah.
Hazelwood's one of those guys. Got nothing to say about him really. Very good.
Metronomic, really good at cricket. Yeah. He will take loads of wickets. We'll be sad.
And then Mitchell Stark, who Shane Warne didn't even want in the squad.
Yeah. Well, that makes it 11 for me. If Shane Warne doesn't want him there, it's gonna be like Mitchell Johnson 2.0, except he never actually went that bad.
Yeah, Stark. I think his bowling average against India was 96. Is that right?
Yeah,
that's not very good, is it?
It's not, no. But again, this is one series that Australia played in like the last 3 years, and it's Mitchell Starc.
I think he'll probably take some wickets, won't he, at some point? Again, having the left-handers in the England
I'm glad we're
lineup
not playing in
helps him.
Perth. That's good. That'll help.
Well, it might mean though that we have 2 matches under lights, and Mitchell Starc's pretty good under lights.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm going to go 7, but
7.
It could easily be a 10. That.
Yeah. I was feeling sort of similar.
Could be a 5.
Yeah.
But
I don't think it will be a 5. I think it's more likely to go up.
That's Australia. The other talking point that we didn't touch upon really was that Khawaja could have played instead of Head. Would you have done that?
Yeah.
You'd have done that. Why?
Because I just find Head completely forgettable, and I've not seen the evidence that Australia obviously have got, and that's probably because they watch him play cricket more than I do, that he's like the answer. But I think Khawaja's a decent player. I'd have him in there, but what do I know?
Okay. Well, I don't know. What do you
filthy
know?
Pom.
You're just somebody on a cricket podcast with a huge audience that has to make judgment calls on this and inform and entertain. Why not completely abdicate that responsibility, Max? Why not?
It's easier that way.
That took longer than expected, so we had to whistle through England. When I say longer, it was about 5 minutes longer than expected. It wasn't a disaster. England have picked 12 men, which is a good tactic.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would have done if I were England.
If you've got the options,
sneak it in. Yeah.
Get that extra wicket. It'd be useful.
They will open with Rory Burns and Hasib Hamid. Let's start with Burns. Burnsy.
Confidence down under. Rory Burns, 4.
5. I think Rory Burns will do sort of what he did against India over the summer, which is chip in here and there. I think he'll get to 50 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Not play a match-defining innings. And also get quite a few low scores.
I think how we view Rory Burns' Ashes will depend quite heavily on how his opening partner gets on.
So we're not too hot on Rory Burns. Hasib Hamid.
Probably about the same.
I think lower.
Fast bowling at him didn't look good in England, did it? Quicker pitches, maybe less. 3.
I think 3 might be generous. But let's be kind. 3.
Yeah. He's a nice man. So
he's a nice man. If I don't know, if the pitches are really dead, he might be fine. But I think there's a reasonable body of evidence that's built up now that he is not the best player of fast bowling. So 90 plus mile an hour bowling.
Yeah.
And I
luckily for us, Australia don't have any of that, do they?
Yeah, I think you might have to deal with that a little bit.
No.
Coming in at number 3, Dawid Malan.
6 for me, based on based on the previous his previous experience where he was the only one who was any good. I think he'll be all right.
Right, I'm going to go with a 4. He got his 100 at the Wacker last time. Australia have cleverly conspired to wall off the state of Western Australia, exclude it from the Ashes. So that's a problem for him. 4.
Yeah.
I think, like you say, he's probably got more of a game that's to suit Australia than he does England. But
does that put him up to a 6 from a 4 or a 4 from a 2?
I wouldn't be, I think there might even be a little bit of English biasness, and you could probably knock 1 off the score of all 3 of those. And if you're Australian, But here's where it changes. Joe Root.
Daddy Root. He's our number 10, right?
He's 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's frankly ridiculous that I think you could, if we're going to knock 1 off the top 3 for England, maybe we need to knock 1 off Steve Smith, because I think Joe Root is the best player in the world at the moment. And I think it's unfair that he is placed on the same pedestal as someone like Steve Smith, who is, last 18 months, last 12 months, obviously not as good.
Yeah.
What do you say about that?
I say Joe Root hasn't played in Australia in the last 2 years. So,
okay, that's fair. They would both be 10s. Coming in at number 5. Now, this is a question. Will it be Ben Stokes at number 5, or will they go Pope at number 5?
I don't know. Jack is the answer. I think they might go Pope because Ben Stokes has played about 15 overs of cricket in the last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of two players that you don't necessarily want to give loads of responsibility, bearing in mind the recent history.
But equally, I think it's two players who would gladly take on the responsibility for what that's worth. I don't think either of them would shy away from it.
That's what you say. Let's say Pope then. What's your confidence meter on Pope?
Can I say what I want it to be or what I think it is? I want it to be like 8, and I think it's probably like 3.
I think 4. He did play well against India in the last match, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
It was
and again, he's another one of those guys where people say maybe he has more of a game for Australia. It depends how he does with the short ball, though.
It does, yeah.
But a bit more like the oval, isn't it?
Stokesy coming in at number 6. What's your confidence meter there?
I think his confidence meter will be 10, and I think I'm going to go for 6 on Ben Stokes because I think he's that kind of person who will potentially come from doing nothing for ages and still be really good, but not quite as good as maybe he could be. But I think it's a sad situation, perhaps, that in this top 6 of England players, the person who I have equal most confidence in is a man who hasn't played cricket in the best part of the year and had to have surgery on his fingers twice.
I'd go a bit higher on Stokes. He is England's second best player. Yeah, and people will remember what he has done to Australia in the past. I think that will be that they will be scared of him on the scared meter for Australia. Then he registers higher than the confidence meter for England. So I don't know, 7, 8 maybe for Stokes.
We've got to bluff our way in the final round of betting there.
Yeah, absolutely do have to do that. After Stokes, well, probably this is a question. We're not really sure here. So the bowlers lot named Leach, Robinson, Wokes, Wood, and Broad. Who do you think will play before we go on?
I really think we need to play a spinner, but I don't think we will because there's thunderstorms forecast for day 1 and a bit of rain around on the second day. So I think we might get sucked into playing seamers.
Okay, I know that'll be a disaster.
Let's do them all. What will happen.
Let's do them all. Ollie Robinson. Let's say he comes in at number 8. Could be him or Wokes.
We haven't done Joss Butler.
We haven't done Joss Butler.
No.
6.
Yeah. Agreed.
Ollie Robinson.
Ollie Robinson. I reckon 7 because I think in England he's like 9, but we don't know if he'll be good in Australia yet. But I think he could.
We have good thoughts that
we have good thoughts. Yes, we'll send the positive mind vibes over. But
it's a little bit. Ollie Robinson's a little bit, although maybe a better version of our kind of Cameron Green. We've got a lot of Ollie Robinson propaganda going on at the moment about how he's going to be fantastic in Australia. His height's going to cause all sorts of trouble. He looks like Glenn McGrath. He's like Glenn McGrath crossed with Hazelwood. But we don't know that for sure. But hopefully the hype has caused waves through that Australian dressing room.
Yeah, and hopefully we Cameron Green him.
Yeah, so 7 seems fair. Wokes.
I don't know. He's got that. We got that overseas issue, haven't we? He's such a good cricketer. Chris Wokes is such an unbelievably good cricketer, but we've still got that. The sort of average overseas issue. So 7 again.
I think 5.
A bit high.
Yeah, I think that's very high. I think he can bat well. That could be useful.
Yeah.
I think
he is the only way.
Based purely on bowling, he'd be 4 for me.
Yeah.
But yeah. Mark Wood.
8.
Yeah. Interesting.
I'm excited to see Woody.
See, I've got no confidence that he won't get injured. On the one hand, I'm thinking 1. He's not going to get through a test. on the other hand, I'm thinking if he did, that would be pretty good. That'd be a 7 or 8. There's a thing in Australia. If you bowl over 90 miles an hour, you basically stay effective through the whole lifespan of a cricket ball. In the first 40 overs, if you bowl, low 80s, you're James Anderson, or your Mark Wood. Doesn't really matter. The averages are about the same for seam bowlers.
And then the
but as that ball gets older, it just gets less and less usable by anybody who isn't doing something unusual. And Wood is unusual in that he can bowl fast. So I think Wood could remain effective. I think they'll need him to. And same sort of applies a little bit for Robinson. I know he does bowl slower, but because he bowls from such a freakish height, I think he'll be effective with the old ball as well, or at least not useless. So I'd say a 7 for Wood. If he stays fit, I think he could have a big series.
Yeah.
Final seamer, Stuart Broad.
Well, again, much like Ben Stokes, confidence in self would be like 15, but for me, 6.
Yeah, 6. The nice thing about Broad, you know what you're going to get. He's probably not going to rip through Australia, but he will be able to hold up an end.
He won't be
a tight bowler.
Yeah, it's not going to be useless, but
yeah.
Penetrating, perhaps not.
Probably be good enough to get people like Marcus Harris out consistently, you'd think. Maybe Warner will be scared. Probably won't be, but maybe he will be. So yeah, 6.
And he can bowl around the wicket to Travis Head.
And then finally, Jack Leach.
I really want him to play. I think we really need him to play.
Yeah.
7. I have confidence in Jack Leach.
I have confidence in Jack Leach, but similar to Wood, I've got no confidence in England picking him.
Yes.
They absolutely hate picking him, even though every time he does play, he's quite does good. Very well.
Yeah.
I've said a couple of times, I think after Robinson, he's probably England's second most important bowler for this series, because I think he's going to have to bowl a lot. And I think he's going to have to be threatening. I think Australia will try and target him because they'll know if they can stop England using the spinner, then they can put overs into Stokes and Robinson and Wood. And
grind England into the dirt.
Whereas if he can just be difficult to score off, then he can have a huge impact on the matches. And I think that England have to play him and have to take the risks and have to hope that he will be. Otherwise, it's going to be a very difficult series for all of the same bowlers.
I don't think we're going to play him. I think we're going to get sucked like in India when we got sucked into the day-night nonsense and they released a picture of the pitch that had a load of grass on it before they cut it, and it looked like every other dust bowl that we played on in that series. They're going to be sucked into all the reports that it's been raining in Queensland for a month, and we'll be like, oh yeah, it's going to be juicy. Let's get all the seamers out. Even though we left out Anderson.
Sure. So yeah, a 7 seems fair. The big news is that Anderson is out, or the other big news is that Anderson is out. He has a bad calf. He's been bowling in the nets. Australian media has reported it as he's injured. England have said he's rested.
England said he's definitely not injured.
I think with the second test being the one under lights, they're basically not taking the risk here.
Yeah.
Right. That's what
I think. Yeah. It's both things are probably true, aren't they?
Yeah. And that's it. I've got nothing else to add on that. And yeah, so that's the Ashes. Who's going to win?
Australia.
Score?
9 wickets.
No, I mean over the series.
Oh, over the series. Oh, 5-0. No, it'll be 4-0.
I think 3-0.
We'll get one.
I think La Nina will help England out. 3-0.
3-0.
Does the final test being at Hobart or MCG float your boat? Do you want to make a past comment on that? Where would you have it played?
Hobart. Why not?
I'd have MCG under lights because it's better for the time difference.
Ah, yeah, good thinking. Yeah. Good thinking.
So, and then top runs. Route. Yeah. Top wickets.
Hazelwood,
yeah. I think that's all good. Let's go on to the other big news. We've only got 4 or 5 minutes here, Max, because we overran on the Ashes, which is a disaster. We are a little bit out of date on this because this did happen, like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
New Zealand took on Australia, took on India in India at Mumbai at the Wankhede Stadium. They were set a target in the 4th innings of 540 and lost by 372 runs. Big win for India, but it's all sort of overshadowed by the fact, as I mentioned at the top of the show, that Ajaz Patel picked up a 10-for. Now, I've just checked the scores here. Who do you think won man of the match?
Well, it's not going to be Ajaz Patel, is it? Because of the way that game went. Agarwal
scored 212 runs across 2 innings with 150 in the first. But I think
surely it's whoever was responsible for New Zealand being bowled out for 60.
Well, Ashwin won man of the series. He took 4 for 8 in that.
Yeah.
But I don't think. Look, I'm not being funny. There have been 3 players in the entire history of Test cricket. I think somebody worked it out. It's about a 1 in 4,000 occurrence. Picking up a 10-fer, and it's been overlooked by Mayank Agarwal scoring a home century. That's disgraceful.
That is
do you want to comment on on Ajaz Patel at all?
If you said to me, probably at any point in my experience of cricket and watching cricket, who do you think the next person to take 10 wickets in an innings is going to be? I don't think I would have said Ajaz Patel in the top 300 people.
There are people yet to be born that you think have got more of a chance.
I think it's stunning. It was absolutely unbelievable. He's announced himself now, hasn't he, as a genuine spinner for New Zealand. So that's nice. Shame. It's just a shame, really, that his fellow teammates didn't back him up. Maybe they were so shell shocked still by what had just happened as they walked out to bat. They forgot how to bat.
It is a little bit like that. It is a bit of a bolt from the blue, basically, isn't it? The way he bowls is kind of odd. It's so every ball he just tries to spin it as much as possible.
Well, he used to be a seamer, but he was too short, really. So he was a seamer until he was 21 or something, but he was too short. Right. So he decided he would be more effective as a left arm spinner. So he's come at it very late, and maybe he's coming at it with a fast bowler's mentality of rather than bowl as fast as you can, bowl with as many revs as you can.
Yeah, and so it comes out. He bowls a lot of Dom Best type deliveries, balls that are just rubbish, half trackers, full tosses,
get him in the English side.
And then miracle balls, that completely deceive people. It's quite good fun to watch. I'm not 100% sure how India managed to lose 10 wickets to him. Still not sure about that. I'm not sure.
Well, India they lost 9, didn't they? They lost 9 wickets to him. We should probably point that out because Virat Kohli hit it.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, and also, Ravi Ashwin couldn't believe that this was happening either. He reviewed a clean bowled. He was clean bowled.
Does that make up for Virat Kohli not being out? If you reviewed being bowled, I think so.
Yeah, I guess that does sort of equalise the universe. I've never seen anyone do that. He didn't look around. He didn't.
Yeah, it wasn't one that was what happened? Maybe I was stumped or anything. It was very clear that you just missed the ball and it hit the stumps.
And he reviewed it in half a second.
Yeah, maybe he thought it was a no ball. Maybe he thought he'd overstepped.
It all gets picked up, doesn't it, on camera now? So that was great. Agarwal, he did play well. We should say that. He did, yeah. It wasn't man of the match, that's obvious. And New Zealand, I think New Zealand, once they realised, they picked up the 10 wickets. I think they knew they'd left their mark on this match. There's nothing they could have won the match game by an innings, and they still wouldn't have been able to overshadow the performance from Ajaz Patel. So I think
they tried their best to do it the other way.
I think that's exactly what happened. Well played, India. Win that series 1-0. Good work for them.
A good number of points for the World Test Championship for winning one.
It should be. Yeah, I think. I think so. I think they just sneak above West Indies, maybe. Right, Max, we're going to wrap up the podcast. Any final words from you?
Well done, Ajaz Patel, and bring on the Ashes.
That's all good. We are on Twitter and Instagram at The Cricket Pod. You can find us on Patreon, patreon.com/TheCricketPod. And Woodstock Cricket is our sponsor. Bring on the Ashes. Bye-bye.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.